Information from your reporting as soon as you get it from investigators. Thank you very much for all of that breaking news. Let's discuss this and so much more with Republican Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning, Allison.
So let me start with this attack in New York. The president just tweeted, he said the terrorists came into our country through what is called the Diversity Visa Lottery Program, a Chuck Schumer beauty. I want merit-based. How is this Chuck Schumer's fault?
Well, I assume, well, I know the president's referring to this Diversity Visa Lottery Program. Senator Cotton, Senator Perdue have legislation that would eliminate that. I support that. I think it's just good common sense, and the president supports that. I think that's something we need to do. Obviously, today, mostly it's about our heart goes out to the folks who have been impacted by this evil terrorist act. But that program needs to go, and that's what the president's referring to. I don't know the history if that was a bill that Chuck Schumer sponsored or supported or what.
It was.
But what I do know is the president's right. That program needs to go.
So Chuck Schumer, I believe, sponsored it, but it was a bipartisan piece of legislation, and it was signed into law in 1990 by President George H.W. Bush.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the facts. What we know is the situation today, and I think common sense would tell you it's time to change our immigration program. And this program, this diversity visa program, needs to go. That's what the legislation would do. Again, I think if you talk to the American people, they would say, yeah, that makes just good common sense when since 1990, this terrorist threat has taken on a whole new form, as we all know too well. So let's change it, and let's do what we campaign on. You know, I say this all the time. Pretty simple what the focus of our job should be. What did we tell the American people we were going to do when we ran for this job? We told them we were going to build a border security wall. We told them we were going to have stronger vetting for refugees and folks who come into this country. And this diversity visa program is something that should be changed. That's what Senator Cotton, Senator Perdue's legislation does. Let's pass that legislation and do everything we can to address these kind of situations to hopefully prevent more of them from happening in the future.
Yeah, look, it's a fair conversation for us to have, obviously, this morning. It's 15 million people apply for it from around the globe every year. As I understand it, only 50,000 make it in, and it is supposed to obviously continue America's reputation and history as a melting pot. So it's open to countries where not a lot of immigrants come from, and that was the motivation behind it. But I think my question to you was, by focusing on Chuck Schumer, why make a partisan attack this morning?
Well, I mean, I think you have to ask the president that, but I think the underlying point is exactly right. This is a program that needs to change. This is a program that needs to be eliminated. It was just a few weeks ago when Senator Cotton, Senator Perdue were at the White House, and they unveiled this legislation, the RAISE Act. I think the American people would say this is something that needs to pass. You're right. Today is a day where we say, let's figure out what happened yesterday. Let's pray for the families who've been impacted. But thinking about solving this problem, this is a good common sense way to do it. And I certainly support what the president wants to do and what Senator Cotton wants to do. Okay,
so let's talk about what happened earlier this week. What were your thoughts on Monday as you watched Paul Manafort and his business associate Rick Gates surrender to the FBI?
I mean, look, it looks like they've done some things wrong, but that's why you have a trial, and we'll figure out. They've obviously pled not guilty, but the indictment goes from 2005 to 2015. Prior to any Trump campaign, and there's obviously nothing in the indictment that talks about collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. Here's what we do know, Allison. We do know that the Obama Justice Department tried to influence the campaign last year, with Mr. Comey calling it a matter, not an investigation, with Loretta Lynch meeting with Bill Clinton on the tarmac 3 days before Secretary Clinton's scheduled to be interviewed by the FBI. We do know that someone tried to influence the campaign, namely the Obama Justice Department. So that's a big concern. And we learned last week that if there was any collusion, it was Hillary Clinton's campaign paying for the